Hi everyone, I am back. I don't know why it feels like an ASMR, but this is not something like that. I just want to come over here and talk about something I've observed and learned about becoming a yogi or a yoga instructor. It's very recent. It's only been a couple months since I've graduated from my 200-hour program, but it's just something I really want to reflect on and what it has given me. So initially, before I joined, my idea was that after I finish my graduation, I want to give back to the community and take free classes, or maybe start my own business, start working as a yoga instructor myself. But eventually I realized that it's actually so worth it, even if I don't become an instructor myself, and I just keep the knowledge to myself, work on developing it more, and pass it on to people online. Because obviously the materials that we learn and pay for like thousands of dollars, while becoming an instructor is not something you'll get online unless you pay for it and you go through the experience of being in that community and learning in that space. So I just want to share whatever that helped me, as much as I can through the screen. So first and foremost, I want to give a little bit of background on what is yoga and what the training process looks like when you're doing it. Yoga is basically a combination of pranayama, which is breathwork. There's philosophy to it. You have a certain way of thinking about things. You need to acquire a mindset in order to become a yogi, and know that you're a lifelong learner. You can't just pass a certain number of hours. There's certification for 200 hours, 300 hours, a total of 500, and then you can keep going on and specialize in different things like handstands or somatic therapy and all these different things. But in reality, people that I spoke with, or my teachers who have been teaching for over 10 years, 20 years, everyone says that they will be learning till their death. So I am no one, and I'm a very big beginner still, but I think that it's a very beautiful journey. It literally helped me more than my own religion, or any other religion that I've heard of, or people from other religions. Not to say that religion is not important, but I just feel like the way it makes you feel free and being able to truly, genuinely encounter and access peace and eternal peace without death, because death is the only way you can acquire permanent peace, right? Because life is suffering, and if there's no life, then there's no suffering, and no suffering means peace, or eternal peace. I just think that yoga was something that helped me get a little bit closer to peace, or the most peaceful I've ever been in my entire life. Okay, so first and foremost, I'll touch on everything. I'll touch on how it physiologically helped me, how it mentally helped me. Going back to what is yoga, pranayama is breathwork. So there's different types of breathwork that you can do. Maybe I'll share with you in other videos what kind of breathworks I learned during my class. And then there's other ones. There's another form which is called asana, or the actual physical yoga, which is doing Surya Namaskar and hatha yoga, Kundalini yoga, Ayurvedic practices. So Ayurveda can literally be food, or cosmetic procedures, or not procedures, cosmetic products that you can use on your body or your skin, a type of particular type of shampoo. Aloe vera is kind of an Ayurvedic thing. But these are not things that I learned in my course, okay? The food part, I didn't learn in my course, but I'm just saying, because my mom's a very big believer in Ayurvedic food and natural cleansing, makeup, and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, and then there's asana, the actual practice of it, hatha yoga, or a vinyasa class, or restorative class, whichever type of class you're doing out there. These are all different types of asanas, which is the physical form of doing yoga. And then last but not least, there's the philosophy, or yoga philosophy. There are some books. The main book is called the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. the Patanjali Yoga Sutra is like the main book. I'm sorry if I butchered it, but if you read that, you can kind of access most of the information that you would need to know about the history and the importance of all these different positions and the chakras and everything related to yoga, right? And all the philosophies behind why you need to do what you need to do when you become a full-time yoga practitioner. So I started doing yoga regularly, like at least minimum of 3 times a week, breathwork on nearly every day since March 2026. And right now it is September, almost September. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, 4, 5, 6, 6 months. 6 months of consistent yoga practice, along with doing the asanas, taking classes, regular breath work, and whenever I'm crashing out, whenever I'm suffering, grieving, any form of physical or mental difficulty I'm facing, I'm trying to access my yoga philosophy learnings and try to kind of connect like which one I'm experiencing and how to combat that with what I've learned. And after 6 months of doing all of that, the first thing I've noticed is that I've regained memory. I don't know if you can relate to this, but if you faced something traumatic when you were a kid or you were a teenager or just like a couple years ago, and you have trouble reminding yourself of things from that era, your brain basically locks or tucks away all the information, or doesn't matter if it's like good or bad, like any memory associated with that time, because it cannot deal with how to process it, it just tucks away the memory forever. So it's just kind of gone. And it's not that it's deleted or just like, you know, your brain kind of threw it in the trash or something. It's there, but it's inaccessible. And it becomes inaccessible because it's a coping mechanism so that you don't hurt, right? So your brain is trying to protect you all the time. But in reality, when you work through your traumas, or you do enough yoga, you do enough meditation, and you think about all your current thoughts, you might unlock some memories that you might have forgotten, or you tried really hard to remember what happened, but you can't. But all of a sudden, all of these information are like kind of coming to you in a platter, like out of nowhere, right? So there are 2 things that can happen. You can either unlock insights from your past experiences, or you can get insights on the future. And that is something I feel like is kind of a more, I would say, would require a little bit more effort or time to like get to that place, because I haven't had a moment where I was meditating and then I received some intuition from like the divine, and then in the future somehow like it connected. Obviously there's always signs, but like there was nothing clear and distinct for me to say to prove that point. But what I can say is that I regained positive and negative memories. But when I did regain the negative memories, I knew how to deal with it, because yoga teaches you that too. Whenever you unlock something really traumatic, there are certain things you can do to process it in the right way, so that even if those memories comes up in the future, you know how to deal with it. You don't just collapse or freeze or go into flight or fight, but you're kind of like, hey, like, we have been here and we have dealt with this before, so we can do this. I know it sucks. I know you have some remaining emotions regarding this. Healing is not linear, but we worked about this, we talked about this, and this is familiar. This is not unfamiliar. And then you can also use the philosophy part of it, that, you know, nothing is forever. No one's entitled to do certain things for you. No one wrote a fucking contract, unless it's a marriage, that they're gonna be with you forever. Or, you know, you're only accountable for your own feelings, and that most of our sufferings kind of comes from attachment, right? Like, once you know how to detach, you can learn how to experience and live life by loving people, loving things, loving money, and house, and traveling and all these things. But then you also learn how to detach from it once it's like taken away from you, so that it doesn't consume you, if that makes sense. So when you know yoga, or when you, oh my gosh, I'm like fucking up the, is this better? Yeah, this is better. When you know yoga, or when you know how to deal with these big emotions, and you really realize that we only live one life and we deserve a happy life and we don't deserve to suffer, everything becomes a lot more calm and easier to process, whether it's a suffering or something great, because you always have the choice. You always have the choice to choose between where you want to put your energy. Do you want to put your energy into something that's painful, or you want to think about the good things that was happening around that time? So let's say you're going through a breakup, right? When you're going through a breakup, you might have some friends and they're supporting you throughout, your family's supporting you all throughout the process. But the only thing during that time you're focused on is the fact that your boyfriend left you, or you left your boyfriend, or that he cheated on you, or something like that, right? But the fact that there is 7 or 10 other people that got your back and they love you, they check up on you, they want to prevent you from going back to that toxic relationship, all of those things are also a blessing, which is 10 times or 7 times or gazillion times bigger than whatever painful situation you were going through at that time. So you need to unlock that to be grateful. And that comes back, I feel like I'm going on and on about this, but that comes back to gratefulness, that noticing and counting your blessings. The more you count your blessings every day, the more you'll feel like there's a multiplied effect. So I would do gratefulness journaling every day. So I would write down at least 3 to 5 things that were great that happened to me that day. And then eventually my brain rewired that. And then all that my brain remembers is the fact that people did great things to me, not just the fact that people did bad things to me. I accepted the fact that people sometimes do bad things to you, but it's your choice to kind of move on and cut them off, because there are lots of fucking jerks out there. But it's also your choice to notice that there are good people in your life. And if you don't accept the fact that there are good people in your life and you deserve love, you deserve money, you deserve power or fame or whatever you want, then no one else can help you accept that. You have to do it yourself. So that's what I have unlocked. So regained memory from my childhood, even if it was something simple, like even if it was nothing related to a traumatic experience, I still remembered it. I could kind of connect the dots, review those things in my free time, journal, and then the journaling gave me more insights, and I became more fluent in my journaling. I felt like I was not going blank or becoming awkward when I'm like writing something. I just kind of kept going whenever I'm writing something, right? And it would all make sense towards the end. So I feel like my ability to journal better and have more insights in my journal about my mental health and my goals and anything related to bettering myself became more efficient, because I was being mindful in the first place, and I was meditating, and I was giving myself time to be still. Okay, number 2. I think I kind of covered this already. I have it like written down. Have the tools that I need when I have to crash out. So if I'm crashing out, or if I'm sad, I know that I have my breathwork. I know that I'd want to do ahimsa, which is a philosophical term. It's a yama. It means anti-violence. So you cannot do violence towards yourself. You cannot do violence towards other people. So even if you're thinking a violent thought about another person, that can be harmful for you. So remembering that thinking or saying or doing anything harmful towards other people reflects back to you is tremendous. So you kind of just stop doing that. It's not just like yoga philosophy, it's like basic neuroscience, that your brain doesn't know the difference between them and I. Whatever you say to it, it just thinks that it's about you. So it doesn't understand the difference between like that and this person. It just thinks that both of these are the same thing, if that makes sense. And then I healed my PCOS. I can go on about this in another video, but I healed my PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. In case you don't know what that is, it's when your insulin levels are kind of messed up in your body, and then you kind of have like hormonal issues. You can have issues with, you know, childbirth, and your body doesn't produce enough what's it called, progesterone or estrogen, so you have to externally take it through like birth control, and it messes up a whole lot of things. It affects your mood, it affects your weight, and then it gives you dark patches around your like neck and all these different effects. But anyways, I had that condition. It's like a lifestyle condition, kind of like a diabetes thing, but less severe. If you don't take care of it, it can be bad though. So I healed that after having it for nearly 10 years. 10 fucking years. Can you imagine that? And how much suffering I had to go through? But that was gone because my nervous system was regulated. My sugar level was regulated. I did like a blood test that I forgot what it's called. CBT or something? No, not CBT. But it basically checks like the record of your blood glucose level for the past 3 months. And it was 5.2, which is like amazing. Like it is like the optimal blood sugar level anyone can have, and I have that. But before, it used to exceed like 6. And then I also stopped catastrophizing things. So before, it was kind of like life was black and white. That's also a trauma or like a coping mechanism. But I stopped thinking that if I don't do this, I'm gonna die. If this doesn't work out, I'm gonna die. You know, if I put a chunk of my savings into, I don't know, buying a car or buying a house, I'm gonna be on the streets. I stopped having that type of mindset, which allowed me to make better decisions because I trust in the universe and the process of things working out, and knowing that at the end of the day, you'll be fine. You know, you have to genuinely believe that, and yoga helps you believe that. Okay. Meditation, better trauma management, whenever something traumatic comes up. Again, I don't go into catastrophizing and thinking that, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel like this again. I know that I have my tools, and I know I can deal with any sort of traumatic experience that comes up. And yeah, what else? Meditation turns thought into screens. So after you meditate for like a while, you're going to notice that so the first stage of meditation, you have thoughts. You have thoughts about everything. What am I going to eat? What was the conversation I had with my friend yesterday? You know, if someone pissed me off, all these types of things. I started to kind of go into the next stage, which is like, it's either blank, like I don't think about anything, or I'll have random screens, or I'll be nostalgic about a time in my life where I felt or thought nothing, or I had some sort of like good emotion or joy attached to it. But I won't see any people. I won't see what I was wearing or myself or anything. I'll just see a specific scene, like being inside a mall or walking back from like a subway station to my apartment. Something like that. Like all of a sudden I'll just see that, and then it's just gone. It is not to say that it's something like huge, but it is something for sure, because the fact that you learn how to not attach to your thoughts and kind of let it pass by, and like developing from that stage to something else, I don't know what this stage is a win for me. But yeah, so far these are the things that I've observed. Some of them are neutral, some of them are great. But yeah, if you're interested in things like this and want me to discuss more, and you find this helpful, please let me know, and I'll make more videos about these topics. And yeah, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.